my video cut off. Like, I don't know why. So this is really weird. Like, I guess word to the wise, don't say negative things about your internet service provider while you're going live on their internet. Anyways, man, I don't know. I'm just really upset about it because I feel like if you advertise a product, right, you got to sell that product. You know what I mean? Don't add weird stipulations after the fact. Um, this internet service provider, who shall remain unnamed, they said their internet was uncapped, and it isn't. What they're saying now, this is after using it for about a year, is actually they're capped, and you've exceeded them. Which is insane. It's really unfair. It's really unfair. If you're having issues with your bandwidth or something, and you suddenly have to uh, put caps on people, that's fine. Just let everybody know. Just send one big email to all your users and say, from now on, we have to cap it, and we're sorry, but that's just what's happening. We can't handle the usage, which I don't even think is the case. They probably just gave everybody uncapped internet, and then realized after a while, like, you know what? We're not gonna make that much money if we do this, so let's just cap it. So yeah, I'm not loving that. I'm not loving that. But hey, like I said in the beginning, TIA, man, this is Africa. These things happen, right? Every time something happens that's pretty cool. There's usually like, oh my god, usually it's like too good to be true or something. But yeah, I I'll sort it out. There's always a way. Now to football matters. Football matters. I couldn't be any happier because United lost and City won. Now, the reason this video is called "I Was Wrong" is because I predicted a 5 or 6-0 win against Burnley, but it was only about half of that. And I was wrong. I was wrong about the score line. But to be fair, who is even good at predicting score lines? Who? Even that octopus could only predict who's gonna win, and I got that right. I knew City was gonna win, so gotta give me that. But anyways, the thing is though, the reason I got my prediction wrong, I didn't factor in the fatigue from the Champions League. The Champions League fatigue. It really, 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 it showed. He's done that, and he's adapted his game a little bit to Pep. He's pressuring that defensive line a little bit more. And before I get to the negative thing I want to say about him, let me talk about. I wonder what's going to happen tomorrow night in the League Cup game in terms of guys like Leroy Sané and Sterling, since they've been starting in the league and the Champions League. I wonder what's going to happen to them in competitions like Carabao Cup and the FA Cup whenever it starts. Although I would be happy to see people like Gundogan and Yaya play full games. Oh, and by the way, guess what I found out in YouTube comments? Apparently, it's not Gabriel Jesus. And I've been saying that a lot, Jesus, because honestly, I've always just loved the way I think it's Spanish people say Jesus. Jesus. It's just the coolest sounding word, man. Jesus. Actually, I might just be one of those annoying people who persists in saying Jesus, because I found out because he's from Brazil, and his name is in Brazilian Portuguese, it's not Jesus, it's Jesus, Gabriel Jesus. So I'm gonna have to fight the temptation to say Jesus. I'm sorry, it's just a fun word, Jesus, Gabriel Jesus. Is it? I don't even know. You know, I'm just gonna keep calling him Jesus because at least I know how to pronounce Jesus, whereas I don't know how to pronounce the Portuguese Jesus. And why say a word wrong when you're not sure how to pronounce it over saying a word that you know how to pronounce, which is not actually the guy's name. So either way, it doesn't make sense. Anyways, whatever. I'm gonna find out how to pronounce it because honestly, I really don't like it when commentators, for example, get names wrong. It's my pet peeve. It's not that hard to find out the right way. So I'm just gonna try and find out how to say Jesus. Jesus. I feel like it's Jesus. I don't know. I'm just going on instinct here. Anyways, guys like Jesus and Sterling and Sane have been starting in the Premier League, so we'll see what happens in these cup games. So, because the guys were looking like they'll be on the fringes are now pretty much guaranteed first teamers. Pretty amazing, right? And I want to say something else about how Pep Guardiola just bamboozled everyone. Last season, when we had Kolarov and Sanya and all those fullbacks that were, you could say they were past their prime and were not really working at the time, everybody thought he was buying quote unquote better, faster fullbacks so he could invert the wingers so that, for example, Sanya would play on the right and cut inside, and Sterling would play on the left and cut inside, something like that. But he actually inverted the fullbacks. Not that they play on their weaker feet, on the weaker sides or anything, but he has the fullbacks coming inside to midfield, not necessarily the wingers coming inside so that the fullbacks can overlap. It's almost the opposite. The width comes from the wings. And it's just interesting how everyone thought it was going to be the opposite way. I wonder if he's ever going to invert Sane and Sterling. He did so in the cup last time against West Brom, and Sane scored that beautiful goal from the right-hand side. It was just lovely. I love those cutting inside kind of goals, but I understand. I'm not always into this kind of inverted inside forward kind of football. I like it, but I don't feel like it's the right thing for every situation. I actually think the worst thing ever is when you have some of these modern day wingers who think they can do the whole cutting inside thing and they're not good at it. It just looks really, really sad. Like, I remember, I think Wenger tried to put Bellerin on the right wing once, or was it on the left wing against Stoke this season? It just looked really bad. Like, do it if it works. So yeah, now, the thing I wanted to say about Aguero, I feel like he might be playing his last season for City, and I think that he's gonna leave on a high, but I don't think he presses enough for Pep. And I can see where all those Aguero rumors were coming from. Because in the beginning, when I heard Pep wanted to get rid of Aguero, or that was the rumor anyways, I thought it was absurd. Like, why would you get rid of a guy who gets so many goals? But then I saw the benefit of having somebody who's going to chase after everything, like Gabriel Jesus did against Chelsea, where you have a guy who's playing striker and he's actually stopping counterattacks. When you're defending from the front, you're going to prefer a guy who does that compared to Aguero, who he's changed. You know, he's a bit better now. He's not going to chase down as energetically as Jesus. He might chase the first defender, but I don't see him chasing the second or third, you know. Not that he should chase the third, but he's not gonna hustle as much as Jesus. That's for sure. And Jesus, my bad. And I think that, well, let me just say, I don't know if it's because he can't, like he physically just can't, like is too old, but he's not even 30 yet, so I don't think it's that. I think it's more of a matter of him just not being willing to do it. I think he just won't. Whereas you look at Alexis Sanchez, who is pretty much the same age as Kun Aguero, and he chases down everything. Sanchez tackles so much. So for me, I do see that happening. Like, I'm not saying it'll be Sanchez, but I do see Pep getting a guy who is going to hustle a little more, or a lot more, maybe. But then again, a guy who gets goals has a way of changing the coach's mind. Like, look at Sofiane Boufal, this crazy goal he scored. I wonder what you guys think about that, the way he sort of confronted his manager when he celebrated. I personally think that's out of line. I think don't disrespect your manager. Just I know you've made a point by scoring a goal, but I think that when you do something like that, you just send a message to to a person like me. The message I get from Sofiane Boufal is as good as he is, the fact that he has the kind of the fact that he has that in him to confront his manager in a really public way like that shows me why he's good but he doesn't play. That's pretty much what message that sends to me. So, he should have just not done that. He should have calmed down. Because now you're in a battle of wills with the manager. His manager just might pull a Conte. It's like, I don't care how good you are, get the hell out. See what Conte did to Diego Costa. So personally, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I think it's unnecessary. I think it as a player, it's actually pretty stupid to do. There's very few players on this planet who can get in a standoff with the manager and make a he goes or I go situation. And as far as I know, there's only Ronaldo, Messi, and Neymar that can do that. Everybody else has to fall in line and act professional. So with Aguero, I really don't think Pep Guardiola is the kind of guy who will allow any player to mess with his tactics or to give less to the added whole. I don't think he will let anybody get away with anything like that. So I'm calling it. I think this summer Aguero will leave. I really do. And it makes me wonder who would be a good replacement for Sanchez, man. Strikers, good strike. I mean, for Aguero, sorry. Obviously, I have Sanchez in mind. But the age thing puts me off a little bit. It puts me off just a little bit. And it's not even just his actual age, it's his football age, Sanchez. He's played a lot of football the last few seasons. But that aside, he'd be perfect if Kun were to go. Personally, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think that you don't need to have everybody pressing. But I mean, I'm not an international football manager, but well, you do need to have everybody, but you don't. I honestly think that you can get away with a guy who just, you know, you just ask him to press a center back. That's it. He doesn't have to chase the DM. If he's a guy who's gonna get you 30 goals plus, I think you can let that slide a little bit. The only reason I'm saying that is because strikers that are gonna get you 30 goals or thereabouts guaranteed are rare these days. I think they are. Don't you think so? I don't know. Oh my gosh. It's all choppy. That's why I'm losing. And why is it all choppy? It's never been like this. It's ridiculous. I'm just gonna see. Maybe I have something dragging my CPU. Yeah. But I can't close Chrome because I'm trying to download something really important. I really do apologize about the of his FIFA rings. There is nothing I can do. Anyhow, I wonder what people think. Should Pep let Aguero go for a guy who works better tactically, and if so, who's out there besides Sanchez? Nicholas Otamendi? Man, no wonder I'm losing. My centre backs are making forays forward for no flipping reason. Can you say flipping on YouTube? These guys are strict these days. I'm sorry, YouTube. I didn't mean to say a bad, dirty word. Anyways, talk a little bit about the Carabao Cup. The Cup of Carabao keeps changing sponsors and changing names forward. But City's version of grinding out a victory involved them trying to score to the very end, which is really, really amazing to see. As a football purist, I just love it. And I'll tell you what else. With United and what they did versus Liverpool, they're going to regret not going for those points because it could have offset their little defeat yesterday or Saturday, which is brilliant, by the way. I saw the score line and it was 2-0. I was so shocked and I was just like, Huddersfield, please hold on, Huddersfield. Hold on, Huddersfield. And eventually they did, which is brilliant. But you see, if you have a team that goes for every game, you're not going to ever feel like, oh man, I wish we had gone for it, because now, those points would have counted now that we're losing. And that's just the difference for me between a guy like Pep and a guy like Mourinho. Because you never know. It might come down to the wire on the last day and it's going to be goal difference. So fortune favors the brave, man. And what I saw yesterday, it wasn't a great game. It wasn't my favorite game. I'm not going to look back at this Burnley game and say, wow, the football. But I'll tell you what, so far it's my favorite win just because it came when the team were really, really tired. And these are the kind of games that can shock you. You know, you have a team on good form, but suddenly they travel to Europe or they have a big European night. By the way, that Napoli game, when you really look at it, it took a lot out of City. Guardiola praised Napoli so much, even going as far as saying they're the best team he's ever faced, which I feel is hyperbole and everything. But at the end of the day, it was a game that took a lot out of the team. And when you come back from a game like that, you come to the Premier League and it's, quote unquote, just Burnley. It's easy to let a game like that slip, especially if you don't hit first gear in the early stages of the game like City apparently didn't. It's easy to let doubt creep in and just take your foot off the gas completely, and before you know it, you've dropped points, or before you know it, you've lost. So the way City, even when not being at their best, still manage to win 3-0. I mean, it's a 3-0 win. It's still a thrashing at the end of the day. It's really, really great, man. It doesn't get better than that. I need to improve my FIFA game. I have been getting better though, slightly. I picked up a few new defensive tricks, apparently. Apparently, it's all about your auto switching. If you don't get your auto switching right, your defense will not work out. So I've been trying this new thing. I might actually become decent at this game eventually. Yeah, man, like the last video I did was crazy. It's like I spent 8 hours editing that. It was just so crazy. And my friend invited me for a FIFA thing, and I just I had to say no because I had to upload and everything. It just, oh man, it sucks missing FIFA. I think that's one of the most reluctant decisions ever, you know. Thing is, I don't like playing FIFA alone per se. I like playing against people. Like playing against the computer gets old because you kind of get to a point where you can predict what the PC is going to do. So that unpredictability it becomes robotic. You can get good though playing against the CPU, but playing against people is better. Anyways, oh, I'm tired. Long day. Ooh. If it wasn't so choppy, I'd play better, but it's so crazy. It's not usually like this. I don't know what setting I have tweaked. Seems like a day a day of technical difficulties. But yeah, I'll fix it. That's what I do best, man. I fix things. I fix things. I make problems disappear. I know it's not my RAM because I got a lot of RAM. I got like 22 gigs of RAM, so it's not that. What could it be? Ooh. Oh no, not 3. Not 3, Ashley Young, look at ya. What are you, a left back now? Mourinho turns everybody to a defender eventually. I remember Samuel Eto'o became some kind of defensive winger type player under Mourinho, which was just a shame. One of the best goal scorers I've ever witnessed play the game. And Mourinho reduces him to some kind of defensive. That does sound kind of hypocritical after what I said about Aguero, huh? No, but there's a difference though, because Pep still wants his goal scorers to be goal scorers, so it's not the same thing at the end of the day. Because what Eto'o was doing at Inter was nothing. It had nothing to do with scoring goals. He was just on the wing, marking people, using his pace to catch guys and his work rate to hassle and hurry and do all that stuff that you'd expect someone like Claude Makelele to do. and it was sad. It was effective, but it was just sad. Bernardo Silva, he's in.